Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you. So in today's video, I thought it would be fun since I am stuck inside and not able to go outside and purchase new makeup, and am really trying not to order a lot of stuff online so that delivery drivers don't have to keep going out putting themselves at risk. I thought it would be fun to make use of some of the makeup that I have, and I thought it would be fun to do a full face one palette video. I did this video before, back when I first started my channel. It was November 11th, 2018. Look at me, look how sweet, look how cute. But I thought it would be fun to recreate this video now with a palette that I think works even better for this challenge, and that is the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals Volume 1 palette. I thought that this palette was a perfect candidate for the full face one palette challenge because you can see we had some bronzy tones, we got some blushy tones, we got some brown and black for my eyebrows, and a nice little cream shade that I can maybe do some concealing with, we'll see. So if you want to see me take on this challenge and see how good I can make my face look with just one palette, then please do subscribe and keep on watching. Alright, so I always like to start with brows first, just because I feel like brows frame the whole face, and I have trouble focusing on anything else when my brows are not done. And this is not my first time using this palette for my brows. I go through eyebrow pencils like it's nothing. Like, I really just fly through my brow pencils, and I always find myself in a situation where I am out of brow products. And don't be afraid to put eyeshadow in your eyebrows, because it is such a good substitution and I think looks really nice and natural, but you can also build it up and make it look as bold as you like. Let me stop talking about it and let me put an eyebrow on. Okay, so I'm gonna be using this teeny tiny little angled brush. This one is from ColourPop. I'm only gonna use the spoolie part of my brow pencil just because I do wanna brush my brows into place here. And as you can see, my hair is a dark brown, and this brown here is a little warm toned for my whole brow and a little too light, but the black will be way too much. So I like to dip back and forth between the two of them. I always start in the brown, so I do a little boop, and then I do a little boop in the black. And then because the mattes in this palette are so like buttery and beautiful, they do have a bit of fallout, so always tap it off. And then I'm just gonna start fluffing it into the middle part of my brow. You don't wanna start at the front because then you're gonna have like too much product. Taking it out towards the tail. The tail's a little tough because you want it to be like a nice precise line. You don't want the product to fluff everywhere, so sometimes I'll just take a spray bottle of water, wet the brush a little bit, and then tighten it like this, just kind of squeezing my fingers over it to make it super sharp and precise, using that for the tail. Got a little bit of a sharper edge. And then I also want it to be sharp for when I do the front, because I like to do hair-like strokes. It's a little difficult to do hair-like strokes with powder, but I make it work. All right, so as you can see, that brow is looking a little bit bold, so I am gonna go in with a Q-tip and just clean it up. And then to finish it off, I'm gonna go back in with my spoolie here. Just make sure the product is evenly distributed. And that is your eyeshadow brow. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side and come right back for the eyes. All right, a bit of a bold brow today, but I'm a big fan of a bold brow, so I don't mind. All right, moving on to eyeshadow. Staying true to the challenge. I'm not even gonna use a primer. I normally always use a primer because I have hooded eyes and oily eyelids. What I'm gonna do instead is blot the eyelid grease off of my eyelids, and then I am going to dip into this matte cream shade here and use that to try to set my eyes for eyeshadow, kind of like a primer, trying to set down those oils so that hopefully my eyeshadow doesn't crease. So what shall we do for the eye look? I'm not gonna do anything too crazy because I do have my whole face to get to, and I don't wanna bore you with the really long eye look. So I think I'm just gonna go in with the Soothe sequin shade in the crease. Now the sequin shades have like little shimmer particles in them, so you would think like, why would you put that in your crease? You shouldn't put shimmer in your crease, but let me tell you, there are no rules in makeup, and I actually think that the sequin shades in the crease are beautiful. I feel like those shimmer particles are not so noticeable. Like, you can see it's on, you don't really see them, but I feel like it just adds a little bit of depth to the look, and we love depth. You can tell these are high quality shadows because even without an eye primer, they're not skipping. And normally when I don't wear an eye primer, eyeshadows can tend to skip on my eyes. All right, let's deepen up this crease a little bit. I'm gonna take a smaller crease brush. So let's stick with the sequin shades. I'm gonna do the sequin shade of the shade Ritual and just deepen up that crease a little bit. going back in with my brush that we used on the first shade. All right, so I'm keeping the eyeshadow pretty basic today because I say pretty basic, that's pretty deep crease color, but what are you gonna do? But I wanted to show you how I use eyeshadow to do eyeliner, and maybe that's something you know already, maybe that's like pretty common knowledge, but I use eyeshadow as eyeliner pretty much on the regular, so I'm gonna show you how I do that now. And I think the color I planned on using originally was Ritual. Do you think that'll look good with these browns? Yeah, I'm gonna trust it. I'm gonna trust the process. I'm gonna trust the texture neutrals, and we're gonna go in and use that beautiful cranberry shade as eyeliner. All right, so for eyeliner, I'm gonna be using that same beautiful little angled brush here that I used for my eyebrows. I'm gonna wet the brush because I find that when you're using eyeshadow as eyeliner, it gives you a lot more control when you're using a wet brush. Also, I mentioned before, these mattes in this palette are super buttery and creamy and beautiful, but they do have some fallout. So I wanna make sure it sticks to my brush. So much so, in fact, that I have loaded up the already wet brush and I'm gonna wet it again. And if you have hooded eyes, when you do your eyeliner, you wanna make sure you keep your eye open. Because if you try to do the wing when your eye is closed the whole time, then when you open your eye, you know you have that part of your eye that disappears. Shout out to my hooded eye friends. I like to start with it closed just so I can get the super tight close to the lash line, and then I do the rest of it with my eyes open. Just like this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the other wing off camera and then put on some mascara, and then we'll come back to work on the face. All right, now we're moving on to the part of the video I'm a little more nervous for, which is concealing. So I remember last time I did this video, as I said, which was like a year and a half ago, I did use the cream colored shade in that palette, and I was able to kind of make myself a makeshift concealer. I feel like it was successful at the time, but my standards have also changed a lot since then. Let me just start doing it. So I'm gonna dip into the shade Aura, which is light, very light. I know that I'm pale, but this is still very light, and I'm going to wet my brush. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. It definitely looks a little pinky. I'm just gonna see if maybe I can go in with a very light hand and try to use this to at least color correct, maybe, since it has a little bit of a pinky undertone. Okay, definitely couldn't use this as a spot concealer because it's very light and pink, but I think for a little color correction under the eyes, it's not bad. Not as hydrating as my normal concealer is, but I mean, it's a powder, that's to be expected. I will say that there have been times that I've traveled with this palette and not brought a setting powder with me, and I did use this shade to set my under eye concealer, and it works really well for that. Honestly, I am getting pretty decent coverage though. It's just not a great color because it is a little pinky, but I don't think it looks bad at all. You know what, I am gonna go in and try to spot conceal with it a little bit. Let's see if I can cover this up at all. Okay, so yeah, I don't think it looks as good there. Like, it kind of covered it, but it like very clearly is, like, something is very clearly there. Let's try to blend it out a little bit. Doesn't look bad, doesn't look great. It's just not doing a whole lot. It did the most for my under eyes. Like, I feel like my under eyes definitely look bright now, and it did conceal some of the blue I have going on under the eyes. I feel like it did some good correcting, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I feel like if I apply too much to the face, it's gonna ruin the whole thing. It's gonna look really bad. Okay, let's bronze. So I'm gonna be using the first shade that I used in my crease. I'm gonna be using the shade Soothe here as my bronzer. I feel like it's gonna be a little warm. I know that bronzer is warm, but my fear is that it's gonna pull orange on me because bronzers tend to just kind of always pull orange on me. Something about my undertones, man. I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna dip into Soothe with this little ColourPop small stippling brush here. I try to go in with a really light hand. I'll go on the back of my hand first. Yeah, that's a good thing I did because that was a lot of pigment. Oh boy. Also keep in mind I don't have any foundation on, so there's not a lot to stick to here because I didn't want to put too much of that concealer powder all over my face. I do have sunscreen on, so if you see any little white flakes in my hair, that's sunscreen. Honestly, not bad. This is blending pretty decent. That's not a terrible color though. I thought that was gonna look way more orangey. I think if I built it up, it would look a little more orangey, but let's just go for it. Let's just try. Instant regret, instant regret. Oh, why did I ruin it? Take my finger, see if I can get some of the pigment off. Okay, that helped a little bit. Yeah, this definitely starts to look orange if you build it up too much. Learn from my mistake, as if anyone's gonna recreate this video just for fun. But you never know. I think the reason I initially wanted to do this video was because when I first started getting into makeup, I felt a lot of pressure to like have every single step in my routine and to like buy a ton of product, and I did not have the money to be doing that. So I love watching videos of people using makeup products in ways that they're not advertised to be used, like this, like using eyeshadow as a bronzer, or like using eyeshadow as eyeliner, you know? Like you don't have to buy a ton of products to be able to create a cute look. You can make use out of the products that you have, and eyeshadow palettes are so versatile. Okay, let's move on to blush now. I honestly might just use the same brush for blush because I like the size of it. So maybe I'll start with this brush, like just to get it on, and then maybe I'll blend it out with my blush brush. Yes, that is a good idea. We all like that idea. We are all on board with that idea. So I'm gonna be going into the shade Poet, the matte one. Ooh, little monochrome moment for you. I got all the same colors on my eyes as I do on my face. This one, definitely don't wanna wipe off the back of my hand. Yeah, can you imagine if I went into my cheek? Oh, I would have been so mad. Okay, going in. I never go for blush colors like this. This is really interesting. Oh, it's leaving little particles, leaving little like dots of pigment. Oh, this was a bad idea. Okay, no, abort. Not using this brush for blush. Clearly that did not work. So I'm gonna take my blush brush and I'm gonna wipe the pigment onto here. Just gonna wipe it on here. Try to get it even. So I think this is good. I'm still gonna wipe it off. Wipe some of the excess off here. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. Okay, let's go into the cheeks. Let's see how this looks. Okay, yeah, this was a much better plan. Am I gonna wear too much blush today? Absolutely, but I'm not going outside, so it's totally fine. Is it a lot of blush? Yes. Is it a beautiful color? Also yes. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. All right, so moving on to highlight. I feel like there's only really one clear choice for highlight in here, at least for my skin tone. So I'm gonna be going in with the shade Aura in the shimmer finish. I'm gonna very carefully go in with this Morphe M510 brush. It's a very good highlighting brush, lets you get very precise. Snap off that excess. I'm even gonna wet the brush a little bit just because I feel like I have a lot of powder on my face today and I wanna make sure it has something that helps it stick. Right, and let's see how this goes. Very soft highlight. I like how soft it is. Soft, but also kind of blinding. Wow. Look at my nose, oh my God. Rudolph who? A little bit on the inner corners here. Ooh, so pretty. I love that as an inner corner highlight. And the brow bone, why not? Just the excess. I love how glowy this is. It's like a soft highlight, but like at the same time, not soft at all. Like very, very blinding actually. Okay, we're reaching the home stretch here. Let's move on to some lips. Lips with powder, you ask? How could it be possible? Well, let me show you. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with that same beloved angled brush that we've been using for a lot of this video, and I'm gonna use it to line my lips. So I'm gonna be going into that matte shade Poet that we used as blush and as eyeliner. Tap off most of that excess here and attempt to line my lips. I know Katie Jane Hughes does this a lot on Instagram. Do you guys follow her? She's a really talented makeup artist. I've seen her use eyeshadow before to line her lips to give it a very like soft, matte, blurred, velvety look, and I love that. So I hope I can achieve that today. I actually feel like it's easier to line your lips with a brush than it is with an actual lip liner. Wow. Okay, so now what I am going to do, and I think this is fine, I think it's allowed, is I'm just gonna take a chapstick and put a little bit of moisture in the middle because I just want something for the shadow to be able to stick to when I fill in the middle part, because or else my lips are gonna be dry. Honestly, I kind of already got it in the middle by smacking my lips together like that, but I'm still gonna go with my finger and add a little more pigment. Look, it's really dark when you just pat it on, wow. If you go like this, you can kind of like make it more true to the cranberry shade, but if you just blot it on, it goes on really dark. It's nice and vampy. Okay, so that was not like the easiest thing in the world. You do kind of have to put some time into it so that it doesn't look patchy, but this color is everything. It actually reminds me of my favorite Sephora lip cream. It's in the shade Blackberry Sorbet. This is a total dupe for that, and I am just about out of this, so that's very exciting that these are like the same color. Let me get myself together for a moment, and then I'll give you my final thoughts and show you the final look. I don't mean to brag, but I have have to be honest with you guys. I think this video was a raging success. I think the makeup looks so good. I had a little bit of a struggle with the blush. You know, I think if you're gonna use eyeshadows on your face, like as face products, you just wanna make sure that you wipe a lot of the product onto the back of your hand, because it's hard to take away pigment, a lot easier to add pigment and to build it up. So that would be my advice for you for that. I think that using eyeshadow for lipstick opens you up to so many opportunities, because I know myself personally, I don't always want to buy crazy lip colors and spend like a lot of money on them, but I am curious to try them. So I'd be curious to try this technique with like some of my blue eyeshadows. That way I could try out blue lipstick. Wouldn't that be so cool? Yes, I agree, it would be so cool. Let me know what you think of this look. Do you have the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette? Do you like it? Have you used it in any unusual ways? I want to know everything. I love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, I encourage you to give it a thumbs up, because that lets YouTube know to recommend it to other people. And that supports me, it supports my channel. It's very kind, it's good karma. And please subscribe to my channel too if you haven't already, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I make videos about skincare, I make videos about hair care. Sometimes on Wednesdays I do mental health and makeup. It's a whole variety show over here. So definitely you want to join the fun and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on my next video. Bye!